Hi Sam, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Welcome to Unfiltered Lives. The other Sam, I've known you for quite a while. Me and you are in the same fellowship, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you these past couple of years. Could you tell us a little bit about your story? Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
My childhood was we moved around a bit as a child. I was born in Brighton, but I came up to the northeast in the 70s, and then I moved back down south. Uh, but I guess I moved. I just moved about. I come from like an average family, a loving family. I look back and I think to myself that it's well, when I look back, I think I can come from loving average family. I was bullied a bit at school, but I've gotten over that now, and haven't let that hold me back. And I would say it's just a loving childhood that I come from.
So you've just came from a normal, loving family. Any brothers and sisters, Sam?
I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Yeah.
And during school, you mentioned that you were bullied.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why people bullied me. I suppose I must have just had like victim written on my forehead. I don't know, But I never fought back, and it was always like more like mental bullying and physical bullying. The only physical time was when I got knocked over by a car. But funny enough, that was the least of it, because you recover from that, don't you? And it was a mental bullying, and the mental bullying does stay with you for a lot of years. It stays with you because what it does is it's sort of like, for me, it's sort of like pushes down your confidence and makes you think you're not good enough, but I can say nowadays that I forgive my bullies. I do forgive them, in fact, I kind of feel sorry for them in a way, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So would you say that program is what we would call program that's been working in you because you've been able to forgive those bullies?
Absolutely, definitely, yeah. Forgiving people that have done things that I think, if you like, made my life a bit miserable. But I would definitely say that's the program that's done it. Yeah.
So talking about program, Sam, you've got a very unique story, as in you had a period of, was it 20 years where you were
roughly 20 years, yeah, I would say.
And how long have you been sober now?
Well, my sober date is September the 2nd, 2019. So yeah,
2019. And then for 20 years prior to that, you'd been coming in and out of it. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, no. When I haven't been coming in and out of AA. I constantly went to AA.
Oh, right.
And I even had a couple of sponsors. I attempted to do the steps and everything, but the thing is, I just didn't put the effort in 100%. Like, I mean, I can't beat about the bush. I didn't put the effort in 100%. So and I think also there was a tiny bit of me that didn't want to get sober, because there was a tiny bit of me that thought, you know what, I can beat this thing, I can drink sensibly, so, but obviously I couldn't. So
1999 then is when you must have come to AA. 20 years, is that?
Yeah.
Is that right? What led you then to AA? What led you through the doors?
Well, I've got family members in AA.
Right.
And my uncles, for instance, they got sober in the 70s. And then my mum got sober in 95. And it just basically, I think I just started going along thinking, well, this is what they're doing. That sounds a bit mad, but I sort of like started going along and thinking, well, I'll just give this a go type thing, And then it just got to a point where I was just going every day, or every go to a meeting. And like, we use the word God in that, and nothing put me off AA, nothing put me off whatsoever. It was just me thinking, like I just said, it was just me thinking, hang on a minute, have I got a problem? Can I solve it myself?
What made you think you had a problem with alcohol? What was your alcoholic behaviour like?
Well, it was hiding bottles for a start, which I've got non-alcoholic friends who don't hide bottles. Waking up in the morning and first thing thinking, oh, is that drink there? Sneaking down the road to buy alcohol and hiding it from myself and drinking in the morning, and just basically not and then also drinking and not really enjoying it for the alcohol, just drinking, you know. So yeah, so that's basically it, you know. When I look back and I think to myself, well, I don't think it's the norm to hide bottles, and I don't think it's the norm to sneak down and then go in shops and say it's not for me, and then put the empty bottles in other people. Yeah, so I guess looking back, I think that was really not, and I was so miserable. But when I was drinking, I forgot how miserable I was, and when I wasn't drinking, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, you were hiding bottles, you were going to the shop and kidding on it wasn't for you, you were drinking in the morning. And did it help having people in your family who were associated with AA?
Absolutely, because they understand what it's like, you know, they understand what it's like to have powerlessness over alcohol, you know. So yeah, so I always say to people, I feel very fortunate that, and not only that, but I live with somebody who is a recovering alcoholic themselves, you know. So that's, you know, because I hear stories of people who say their families just don't understand. So I feel like I'm very fortunate in that way, you know.
So talk us through, Sam, your first realization that you needed help.
Just basically knowing that I felt so miserable drinking, you know. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I don't know what the word fortunate is. I mean, I didn't go to rehab or anything. I don't know whether it's because I never got to that point where, you know, I need to go to rehab. I mean, rehab's great. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm very glad, but I think it's basically just realizing just how miserable I was. Just you know, and my life revolving around alcohol. You know, not eating, not really doing anything, being just hating myself. You know, like looking in the mirror and saying how much I hate myself, and I'd say I'm not going to swear, but I'd say I bloody hate myself. You know, and things like that. I still don't have a great big love for myself, but I don't hate myself anymore. You know, it's a work in progress. So yeah, you know, when it revolves around something and it revolves around, oh, you know, I need that drink, even though I know that drink isn't good for me. It's killing me, killing me physically, killing me mentally. You know, I'm still drinking it. You know, so
yeah. So 1999, you then start to attend AA. What was your first meeting like?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I really can't remember. And that's total honesty. I just can't remember.
Yeah.
You know, because it got to the point where I just started going, and I just went because I went. Yeah, fortunate in the way that I found some lovely ladies who did sponsor me, and they knew that I wasn't ready, but they stuck with me. You know, bless them. You know. But I really can't remember what my first meeting was like.
So talk me through those years, those 20 years where you were in AA but you just couldn't get sober. You were in the fellowship but you just couldn't get sober.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't get sober because, like I said to you earlier on, totally honest, nowadays I didn't put 100% work in. You know, I mean, getting sober, and I realise nowadays it's not like it's, you know, it's not a half-hearted job. You know, it's not like I mean, I can't mess about with it because I'm not being horrible, but it will eventually kill me if I drink. You know, I lost a brother through alcoholism, and I lost an uncle through alcoholism. You know, and that didn't stop me drinking. You know, I still carried on drinking. But yeah, so getting sober was basically, you know, it is a full-time job. And when I say getting sober, you know, I hear some people say, I've a recovered alcoholic, and that's fine, you know, but I believe I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to put all the bits together. You know, you can't just do one bit. You can't do a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. You've got to put it all together, you know.
Yeah.
So in a way, I guess I was going to AA, but I was going to AA a bit like night school, if you like. You know, I was just going along and you know, obviously not staying sober all the time, staying sober now and again. But I do realise nowadays, if you just stay sober now and again, that is what's classed as dry drunk. You know. So yeah, so I wasn't going to get it. In fact, I wasn't going to get it till I was ready to get it. And thankfully, I do say my prayers every morning. And thankfully, I was one of the ones that got it before it was too late. You know. you know, it's just.
So you were treating the fellowship like a night school, as you said.
In a way, not disrespect. I mean, I'd go along, I'd listen to people's stories, I'd look at the steps, you know, even work through the steps, you know. I don't come from a religious background, so the word God never put me off or anything like that, you know. And everything, you know, I went along. In fact, I liked going, but I just knew there was that one little bit in me that just was clinging on to the hope that I wasn't an alcoholic, you know. And I know nowadays that I had to let go of that and say, well, I am, you know, it's not a crime. I am, you know, it's just.
Because you couldn't get it for those 20 years, what was your relationship like with your mum in the house?
Well, because I've lived with her all the time, because I'm a carer as well, so that's why I live with her as well. It obviously was horrible for her because I lost my brother in 2001 through alcohol and drugs, and it was horrible for her to see. It must be horrible for any parent to see their kid, their child, no matter how old the child is, destroying themselves through alcohol, you know. And I mean, we don't talk about it all the time, but now and again we talk about it, you know. And I talk about the daft. Well, I look back, they are daft now, but it's things I used to do when I was drinking. But when I look back now, I think it must have been horrible for her to see me. And the one thing, I mean, I have to say this because I share this in meetings as well. And, you know, okay, we say we don't get sober to be miserable. But the one thing that I do share in meetings is my mum doesn't have to, I mean, she's 88 now, you know, and she doesn't have to say anymore. When she wakes up, she doesn't have to say, I wonder if you're going to be dead or alive.
Yes.
You know? And I share that because it's a, to a point, you know, it's because I'm not being funny, but you can't mess about with this alcoholism, can you? You know, you just can't mess about with it. And she doesn't have to say that anymore. And I don't have to wake up in the morning thinking, you know, have I had a drink or didn't have a drink because I can't remember. So I used to think, right, so I'd go in the bedroom, take her a cup of tea, and I do laugh about this now, but it wasn't funny at the time, you know. Because if I couldn't remember, you know, I'd take her a cup of tea, and if she went, morning, Sam, I'd think,
yeah, I got away with it.
But if she go, morning, Sam, I'd think, oh, again, type thing.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a lot better now, you know, because she's not well. She's got cancer, she's diagnosed with cancer and that, you know, and the fact that I can be there with her, you know, it's hard, but I have to keep on upbeat. The fact that I can be there sober in her last years is, you know, is great, you know. So yeah, it must have been horrible for her. But like I say about what I just said about her finding me dead or alive, you know, I can't imagine what a parent must go like that, you know. And she doesn't have to worry about that anymore. So whatever else she's got on her mind, she doesn't have to worry about that, you know.
Yeah. So. Sam, tell me about your last drink then, because it took you 20 years to get your sobriety. Tell me about your last drink.
My last drink, well, I used to drink that blooming awful cider. I went, which shouldn't even be allowed on the planet, let alone anything else, you know.
Yes.
But I used to, I mean, so I guess the last one was, I don't know, I was in hospital once through drinking, and that was because I decided to have vodka, and obviously vodka was worse, you know, because I thought everyone else is drinking vodka, so I'll have a go at vodka, but that took me into hospital, you know. But the last drink, I guess what happened was I just got to that point where I thought, you know what, I don't want to die, you know, I really don't want to die, not yet, you know, but, you know, I really don't want to die, and I can't remember the exact last drink that I had, but I kind of like just got to the point where I was like, well, you know what, I've had enough, and I'm still here. I've been given I've been given chance after chance after chance, and we all know that one day those chances run out, you know. I've been given chance after chance after chance, and I guess what happened, I can't remember the exact last drink that I had, but I guess what happened was I just woke up one day and thought, do you know what, I've just had enough. And I found a lovely lady who has got decades of sobriety behind her, and she took me on and sponsored me, you know. So I can't remember the exact. Obviously, my date was, I think it was probably like about the 1st or 2nd of September. Obviously, that's my date, you know. So I think that, I can't remember the exact details, but I would have thought, I just woke up one day and I thought, do you know what? I've just had enough of killing myself, basically, you know. So.
And that was the September.
That would have been September the 1st. September the 2nd, 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Sam, how does it feel how does it feel to finally have this length of sobriety now in your life?
Well, it feels. I try not to. I just try and take it one day at a time. But I will say something. I'll say something honestly as well. Now and again, and thankfully I haven't picked up a drink, but now and again it does still come into my head, the thought of having a drink, and I accept that as that's because I'm what I am, But like I said right at the beginning, to wake up in the morning, and even if I'm feeling a bit like in the morning, which I do sometimes, wake up in the morning and think, well, no matter what else I've done today, or when I go to bed at night, no matter what else I've done today, I've stayed sober, And even if I've had that thought in my head of wanting a drink, which I'm not going to lie, I do now and again, not very often, thankfully, but now and again, I don't pick up a drink, I don't like. I go to as many meetings as I can nowadays, and I put what I can. I don't do a lot of service because I've got other commitments at the moment, but I do as much service as I can. But basically, what it is being able to do something like this for a start, instead of like sitting there in the bedroom just looking out at the world and thinking, oh, I wish I hadn't had another drink type thing. No, and just being able to say, well, you know what, whatever happens in my day today, whatever happens, I'm sober, and I'll get through the day, and just basically. I do suffer. I do get mental health. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had a week when I was quite down. But I do get mental health dips. I think everybody does, don't they? But on the whole, I know that I'm not going to pick up a drink, and I know that I'm going to get through the day sober. So we're relying on my higher power, which I call God, because I don't know what my higher power is. So I call it God because I think, well, in the morning when I pray to God, I know that I'm praying to my higher power, isn't I? And then I think, well, I haven't got a clue what my higher power is, but hey. It's got to be something in it because I'm still here.
What's a day in the life like then in your life, man, Sam? What's a day in the life like?
Well, at the moment, it's pretty much the same because obviously I'm caring for Mum, but I'm very lucky at the moment she can do things for herself. But
that's massive, Sam, isn't it, that you are sober and free, that you can look after your mum as you have explained?
Yeah, well, she always says, you've become the person you were meant to be. And I shouldn't say this, but I always say this for a joke. I always say, well, thank God I wasn't meant to be a serial killer. But at the end of the day, it's, I get up in the morning. I'm an early riser, and I know you're an early riser as well, aren't you? I'm an early riser. Well, I am an early riser because one of my cats always wakes me up early, so I've got to be an early riser, So I have my little routine in the morning. And on a Monday, what do I do on a Monday? I go to meetings. I go to meetings 3 days a week I go on Zoom meetings, and the other 3 I go to face-to-face meetings. So, for instance, on the Monday, I don't know what I do on a Monday, to tell you the truth. I can't remember. But so Tuesday, for instance, I go to a nice little meeting in Saltburn. It's a recovery group. And then Wednesday I do something like this. Well, not every week, obviously. I'm going to do something like that. Thursday I do whatever. Friday I go shopping on the morning, and Saturday I just talk to. I sponsor one lovely lady. She's in Essex, but we do it online. And then another lady just asked me to sponsor, and I didn't know where that came from because I thought, well, where did that come from? People asking me to sponsor them. So on a day-to-day basis, sometimes I don't do anything mega exciting, but that doesn't matter.
Yes,
I get through the day, and that's it.
Sam, what would you say to the Sam of the past?
I would say to the Sam of the past, you're not a bad person. You might have done things that you wish you hadn't done. Because I did steal money. I stole money to get alcohol. And I'm not proud of that, but I did it. And my mum, bless her, nowadays I go shopping on a Friday without her because she can't get out there. No, she gives me her card, and everything. And she doesn't have to hide things anymore. And she says to me, "Oh, Sam, can you go and get my purse now?" So the Sam of the past, I would say you're not a bad person. You've got an illness, and but just forgive yourself, and that's it, yeah.
Oh, Sam, thank you ever so much for this lovely interview, and for the British weather as well. Thank you, Sam. Here's a hug.
You're welcome.
Thank you ever so much.